This planet is transient, and the order of the cosmos is seemingly a never-ending cycle of death and rebirth. I can't think of a more profound illustrator of this transient principle than the humble daylily. Aptly named plant blossoms for a day and then wilts, teaching us how to bloom courageously and beautifully during our brief sojourn on this planet. A transplant from China that seems to like our climate. It's a lesson in death and rebirth, as it dies and is reborn every year around mid-spring. There's many different ways to enjoy and prepare daylilies. You can use the buds and the flowers in a salad. I like to make fritters with the flowers. You can dip each petal in batter and then fry them up, and they almost look like a blooming onion. You can also use their corms, which is their root system. They have, if you dig them up, there are several different corms connected to each one, but I am wary of doing that with any plant, because once you've dug up the roots, that's the end of the life cycle of that plant. And if it's a perennial like a daylily, I say let it come up every year at the same time and enjoy it like that, and enjoy the flowers and the buds, unless you're in some sort of emergency situation. But today we're going to make a wild daylily pickle. What do I mean when I say wild pickled daylily buds? It's a reference to a process whereby you use bacteria to colonize the buds, to preserve them, and to elicit a really profound transformation in flavor and nutrition. So I'm going to be using very simple tools for this. I'm going to use a spice mixture that involves Himalayan pink crystal salt, coriander seed, yellow mustard seed, nutmeg, allspice, and cloves. I'm going to use about 4 cloves of garlic. You can use less. I like garlic really well. And this is, I'd say, roughly 35 to 40 daylily buds. So first thing I'm going to do is add my spice mix to a quart jar. So I have about 1.5 tablespoons of salt. You can use sea salt or Celtic sea salt or Himalayan pink crystal salt. You just can't use iodized table salt, because iodine inhibits bacteria, and we're really actually trying to, in essence, harvest bacteria. So before I add the daylily buds, I add these in here and kind of try to dissolve the Himalayan pink crystal salt as best I can. That way it's evenly distributed and flavored. Now I'm going to add about half the garlic too, down to the bottom. So about 2 cloves of garlic. You can obviously use less. This is a matter of taste. The beautiful thing about making any kind of wild fermented beverage or food is that it's to your own taste for the most part, if you follow a few simple rules. What we're making in essence is a brine. So if you follow the rule, submerge in brine and everything's fine, you'll not have a pickle that goes bad. You might have a pickle that tastes really strange or really strong, but it'll be safe to eat. Okay? So I've added about a cup of water, or nearly a cup of water, and all my spices, and about half of my garlic. So I'm going to add about half my daylily buds as well. Add a little bit more garlic, maybe another, about half of what I have left. Kind of stagger it. And then add in the rest of the daylily buds. I haven't gone to any great effort to sanitize any of this. I've washed it all with very warm water and soap. I talk about sanitation and some of the absurdity of the idea of being able to sanitize things in some of my other videos, if you want to check them out. I also talk about what kind of water to use, but briefly I'll say you just need to use some kind of spring water or distilled water. At any rate, some kind of water that doesn't contain chlorine. I go into this in a bit more detail in a lot of the beer and winemaking videos. So I've got those stuffed in there pretty good. I'm actually going to go ahead and add a fermentation weight. I used to use rocks for this, boiled rocks, but I found out the hard way that sometimes some rocks crack and explode at high temperatures. Also, trying to find, if you have a lot of different fermentation projects going on, trying to find rocks that perfectly fit quart jars like this is a Herculean, quixotic task. So I filled it up to the top. I could just, as long as it's filled up just over the daylily buds, I'm in good shape, as long as they're submerged under this water. And here we have, with time, everything we need to enjoy a pickled daylily bud dish. So how long until these daylily buds become a pickle? The answer is to your taste. The bacteria will start colonizing in about 1 to 3 days. I have a pretty warm house, so usually the warmer your house, the quicker that the bacteria start to arrive and start to colonize. You can let it go from anywhere from 1 week to 3 weeks to beyond. These are preserved forever. So what you have to decide is, what taste do I like? So one of the methods I use to do that is taste a little bit as I go along. You're going to have a dramatically different taste from 3 days to 7 days, and another radically transformed taste between 7 to 4 days, especially in a warm house in the summer. So you can get an idea of what you like for your own taste. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you've learned something today, don't keep it to yourself. Pass it on to your neighbors, pass it on to your friends, pass it on to your coworkers, and most importantly, pass it on to your children. Thank you.